A voice answered from inside the house, and no one could see who spoke. 1654, Glenluce, southwest Scotland. A rural parish of stone homes, fields, church authority, and hard daily work. Inside one household lived Gilbert Campbell, a weaver, a family man, living in a place where reputation mattered, and where anything unusual did not stay quiet for long. The main account comes from George Sinclair, a minister who later recorded the events in Satan's Invisible World, discovered in 1685. He stated the story came from Thomas Campbell, Gilbert's son, who lived through what happened, and according to that account, the disturbance did not begin with a ghost. It began with a refusal. A beggar named Alexander Agnew, also known in later accounts as Jock of Broad, Scotland, came to Campbell's door asking for charity. Campbell refused him, and according to the story, Agnew left him with a warning that harm would come to the household. And after that, the house began to change. At first, it struck at Campbell's work, his warp thread. The thread stretched on the loom was reportedly cut again and again. Not once, not by accident, but repeatedly, as if something was interfering directly with his craft. For a weaver, that was not just strange, it was personal. Then came the sounds, whistling, knocking, scratching, movement within the house, with no visible source. At times, the sounds seemed to travel from one part of the room to another, as if something was moving without being seen. Then, it escalated. Stones were reportedly thrown inside the house, across rooms, striking walls, landing where no one was standing. Objects were disturbed, furniture shifted, and in some accounts, small fires were said to start or flare unexpectedly, adding to the fear inside the home. This was not one night, not one sound, not one moment. It became a pattern, a presence that returned again and again. Neighbours heard about it. Visitors came. Some were said to have witnessed parts of it themselves. And as more people entered the house, the story grew. Because then, something changed again. The house began to answer. According to the account, a voice was heard, not from a person, not from a visible figure, but from within the house itself. Walls, corners, empty spaces where no one stood. And the voice responded. Questions were asked, and answers were given, directly, clearly, as if whatever was there was listening. It mocked those present, spoke back to them, reacted to what was said, and because of that, in later retellings, it became known as the Glenluce Devil. In 17th century Scotland, this was not seen as curiosity. It was understood through belief, through religion, through the idea that something unseen could enter a home and make itself known. Clergy became involved. Prayers were said. The situation was treated as something spiritual. The disturbances were said to continue over time, rising, fading, returning again, until eventually they diminished. Not with a single clear ending, but by gradually stopping. What remained was the record, a testimony passed from son to minister and written down years later, in a world where such events were understood very differently than today. In later years, some offered other explanations. Thomas Frost, a historian of magic, suggested the events could have involved trickery. Andrew Lang, a folklorist, raised the possibility of human involvement within the household, that the voice, the stones, the disturbances may not have come from something unseen, but from someone within. But within the original account, those inside the house did not describe it that way. They described disruption, damage, noise, a voice that answered from where no one stood. And that is why the Glenluce case remains. Not because every detail is settled, but because the pattern is clear. A refused beggar, a warning, a weaver's thread cut, stones thrown through rooms, whistling in the dark, fires starting, and a voice speaking from inside the house. And whether it was a presence, a deception, a belief shaped by its time, or something still not fully understood, the image remains. A quiet Scottish home, a family gathered inside, a question spoken into the room, and from somewhere no one could see, something answered back.